And to your point about that September 2nd double tap attack, you said that that could very well be a prosecutable offense. Who would be getting in trouble there? Would it be going all the way to the top to Secretary Pete Hegseth? Because he said that he fully was on board with the commander who made that call. Would it be that commander? What does that look like?
Well, that's an incredibly good question, and that is where you get to the point of legal and illegal orders. And in the Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, in any of the armed services, the duty is upon the members of the armed forces to make a judgment about whether or not an order is legal. Now, that's a difficult process, unquestionably, because you're in circumstances where there's danger and difficulty, and unquestionably making a judgment about whether or not an order is legal or illegal is a very heavy burden to place on members of the armed forces. So who may be involved? You know, we have some history to refer to. Back when I was just getting ready to go into the Army, and Vietnam was raging, there was a horrible My Lai massacre where 500 innocent Vietnamese were slaughtered. And that case was obviously tried. Cali was tried for murder, and at the end of the day, others were charged. However, there was also some mitigating circumstances, a difficult situation and environment within which to make split-second decisions. So there were other people charged, but nobody received the severe penalty that Cali did. Secondly, Hegseth is not subject to the Uniform Code of Military Justice. All of the people in uniform are, neither the president, although he's subject to impeachment, and so is Hegseth for what it is that they may have done. At the end of the day, they're not subject to a murder charge for what it is that occurred unless it was under their direct order. So my guess is, Brittany, that these lawyers who have been trying to find some justification, slim though it may be, and some cobbled together legal theory that simply doesn't hold water, probably has been endorsed by those in the chain of command. So it's going to be a very, very messy business to unravel all of these circumstances and get finally to the truth, and then to determine what are the appropriate levels of punishment and trial. So the longer it goes and the longer Congress takes a walk, the worse it's going to be for the country and for these people. And so, you know, when the senator offered and the 5 members of Congress offered their notions about advising the young men and women in the armed forces to remember that you have a duty to make certain that this is a legal order, that was out of concern for them, to make them certain that they were aware of this heavy, heavy burden of determining the legality of an order.